I work to ensure that this agreement gives adequate attention to addressing mental health issues and securing schools to ensure the safety of our children. I think we can all agree that violent criminals are those who have been deemed to be a danger to themselves or others by a court of law should not have access to weapons. On the other hand, we recognize that the rights of law-abiding Americans should not be infringed upon because of the actions of criminals.
So you have Senator Cassidy talking about common sense gun reform, as he calls it. We've heard from actor Matthew McConaughey talking about gun responsibility with great emotion. With me right now is Max Zoghbi, husband of Bonnie Kate Zoghbi. We know right. Bonnie Kate, of course, from her mother and from all the things she's done with gardens lately. Yep. Bonnie Kate also, though, is coming up 10 years from being thrust into the national spotlight when she was sitting in a Colorado theater. A gunman came in, she was shot, wounded severely. She survived, but physically, how is she 10 years later, Max?
It's hard to believe it's been 10 years. The past 10 years have been a severe mercy for us. We have the privilege of her being here and being alive, of course. A lot of people can't say that from these various incidences, but it's hard. It's hard. She's in pain every day. She has a fatigue from that pain that knocks her out. Certainly we wish we had the privilege of being able to walk around the lakes together, walk downtown, exercise. That's something that's not part of our story.
Yeah, see, that's amazing. Her knee was really shattered.
Yeah.
And people, you hear so much about those that lose their lives, and of course, but yeah. With the survivors, you just think, okay, well, they go on and live their life normally.
Sure.
That's not the case
sure.
at all.
It's not.
She uses crutches. She's in pain, as you said.
Yeah, we go to the airport, we need a wheelchair. Go to a museum, need a wheelchair. Walking long distances, need a wheelchair. Crutch every day. Could it be worse? Certainly. She has mental capacity and is sentient sure. and can walk, and she has all of her limbs, but it's still a very real thing, and it will continue to be.
And you're here.
Yeah.
Because it's really difficult for her to talk about it.
As you'd imagine it is. Yeah. It's difficult for me too. It's difficult for all of us, our whole family, when something like this happens. It's it's that kind of residual trauma that just reminds you and takes you back, and it's hard. That's right.
Every time there's a mass shooting, and there have been so many, especially recently it seems, but it's really more than we even hear about. How does that impact the both of you?
It's troubling. It's heartbreaking. I think part of any trauma and any grief is just coming to that place of acceptance time and time again. So it kind of gut checks us, like, oh, this is actually still a part of our story. Takes you back to things you want to forget and move past. But that's been our life. Is just this journey of acceptance, continual forgiveness, and just learning how to deal with the emotional, physical, lasting effects of trauma that we have. And again, I really believe we're so blessed and have it so well in consideration of so many others.
Yeah, you mentioned continual forgiveness, and I'm thinking that's of the shooter.
That's right.
In this case.
That's
which,
right.
Boy, I mean,
right.
When it's so long from when it happened, you don't really think about that. But that's probably a daily thing also.
I've learned forgiveness is a journey. It's a thing that you come up against and bump up against time and time again. Bonnie Kate will have these things happen sometimes with her knee where there's a bone fragment or shrapnel or something will just like lock it up, and she's not able to walk at all, and she's in extreme pain, and it can go on for a day or a week. And it's times like that, and maybe certainly when we have kids and have to figure out how do I push a stroller in a wheelchair. I think it's just those moments of reminding our life isn't normal, and there are real lasting repercussions from this horribly, unnecessarily evil, violent thing that happens, and it's hard.
She has done everything I think that's possible.
Yeah, over 7, 8 surgeries.
I'm sure people ask, why can't they fix it?
That's right. Why can't they fix it? It's because when you get shot with a high velocity assault rifle bullet,
right.
those are bullets that have a place, and they're meant to do exactly what they did to her knee, which is destroy. It goes in and it explodes, and that's their job. Just not in a movie theater.
Yeah.
To someone's knee.
So your thoughts and her thoughts on this ongoing conversation about gun laws and what should be changed, and people who say no, it's our rights, and that whole conversation. Where are you on this?
It's a big conversation. It's easy to get emotional because it plays on a lot of people's intrinsic values and beliefs, and so we tend to guard those, right? With our lizard brain, it's hard to have a rhetoric and civil discourse. I'm not the expert. I don't have all the answers, but as much as one can, researching and trying to get a grasp on things as anyone else does, it seems to me that surely sounder minds will prevail, and there has to be a considered, logical, reasonable, more helpful approach that I think will actually require concession from both sides meaning political sides.
Yeah.
That there seems to be an overwhelming majority of things I've read online and a lot of conversations I've had with friends and family on both sides, that seems to be this kind of third nuanced approach that says there are some things that can be done, laws that already exist that need to be enacted, and some really common sense things that any responsible gun owner who wants to carry a weapon, as I often do, for the sake of defending and preserving life should the worst happen, should get behind and would be happy to abide by. We have seatbelts, we have nutrition labels. There are common sense things that don't necessarily have to infringe upon these freedoms that people so understandably and viscerally hold on to. I think there's a middle ground, and I really hope we can reach it.
Max, thank you so much for being here. Our love to you, our love to Bonnie Kate.
Yeah, thank you.
Prayers for her always, and to both of you, thank you.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah.